Let's talk about spinels. Hey guys, my name is Dominic Flux and I am joined by FGA gemnologist Benedict, and we are going to cover everything that you need to know about spinels because they come in a very wide range of color. And we're going to talk about like the colors, comparing them to different stones of similar colors, you know, red spinel versus red ruby, the price points, treatments, all that good stuff. So thanks for watching and let's jump into it.
And we love spinels.
We love spinels.
Spinels are the best.
Yeah. All right. So first off, I thought we could look at maybe the wide range of color because they do have like unique colors like silvers and grays, very interesting colors of purple as well.
Yeah. So spinels will come in a really wide range of colors and saturation. So you'll have all the pinks, purples, purple blue, purple pink, the reds. The reds will be very like vivid. They're gonna be almost more red than what you could see in rubies sometimes.
Yep.
Sometimes they're just more of a pure red. They're super crispy. You can get them in grays also, but like even usually in gray stones, like gray sapphires, you'll always have some kind of like green undertone or purple undertone. Spinels, you can really have them in like these like steely, pure gray. So these were extremely popular a few years ago. They're still popular, but they went a bit up in price, so they're a bit less interesting. But for people who like neutral colors, it's a great option.
Yeah, like I bet you if you liked peppered diamonds, you would probably like this shade.
Yeah, for sure. And then you have some blues. You have like a more of a deeper tealy kind of blue, and you have the cobalt spinel, which is the most expensive and prized one, that is like really electric blue.
Do you have any examples here?
We had one, but we sold it
a
month ago, and they're hard to find. We've had it for a really long time. It's really for like collectors. Like I don't even know if we want to replace it because it's collectors will want it, but usually they're going to be small. They're going to be extremely expensive. They're going to be sometimes kind of weirdly cut because they want to keep them, but they're super impressive. They're like the electric blue.
Almost like an apatite or even more?
Even more. Like, you know, those like blue Subarus you see on the street, like the blue, it's Subaru blue spinels. And so most of them come from Vietnam, but we have some in Canada. But they're
very cool. And what colors do you find in Canada?
The electric blue, the cobalt blue. But they're just too small to be cut. Maybe they'll find more. But yeah, so these are the blues you can find.
Yeah, and like I really love like the pink tones. They have a lot of pink tones and like wide range. So like this is more of like almost with a hint of like orange to it. You know, you have more purple pinks, pastel pinks, like it's...
Yeah, you have really bright pink. These ones too, they're like kind of a reddish, very insane color. They just glow. They're just absolutely
because they have a similar refractive index as a sapphire. I think that sometimes when people are looking for sapphires but don't necessarily have the price point but still want something just as beautiful, a spinel is definitely a good option to go for because you like the colors are just so vivid.
It's also it's like it's not as hard as sapphire, but it's still an 8, so it's good for engagement ring, for rings that you'll wear every day. They're pretty tough. They're rarely treated. They can heat treat them. I mean, it's since a few years they've tried and they've made tests. Historically, they were not heat treated, but now some of them are. But it's like a good natural option. It's a fraction of the price of sapphires, and the colors are beautiful.
Yeah, and I mean, just like in terms of like the clarity as well, I think they're pretty much... Well, I guess it depends on the quality, right? Obviously,
it depends on the
because her stones are so nice. That's why I'm like, wow, there's no inclusions. No, there are inclusions.
I mean, I have here a little like, you know, sometimes they can be a bit opalescent or more milky, but when they're well cut and eye clean and not included, they have this like they have a very high luster.
Yeah.
So they're very like sharp. They're really good.
Awesome. So now that we've touched about the colors, I'd like to show you guys really like color comparisons in terms of like, you know, rubies versus spinels, sapphire versus spinel, because you can see just like the range of colors that they hit.
Yeah. So here I have a tray that has some spinels and some sapphires. So gray spinels here and gray sapphires. So it's a great option. The red ones, I mean, you'll make close-ups, but it's really hard to tell. Even for me, these like are equal quality and all. Which one's a spinel and which one's a ruby?
Can I see? Can I try?
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, she's taking it out for me too. This is serious.
So these are the rubies and spinels, and you can try to guess which one's a ruby and which one is the spinel.
Okay, so based on the color, I'd actually say this one is probably the ruby.
Yes.
Yay! 1 point.
But as you can see, they're both very similar in color, in like the glow they have, and the spinel is half the price of the ruby.
So what are we looking at for the ruby?
The ruby's around, it's $22,000 for the stone. It's a 2-carat stone, and the spinel is slightly heavier, so 2.36, and it's $12,000.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's literally half the price.
Because, okay, I'm going to say this for rubies. There's certain stones like rubies, emeralds, alexandrites. If you don't have a budget, you know, over, let's say, even 6,000 or 7,000, I wouldn't consider them, like, ever really, because you're going to end up with something that's heavily included, because they're stones that you really have to, you know, buy a higher quality for like an engagement ring,
unless you want
to have
like
something like mediocre, you know,
like a very small stone. If you have very delicate and you want a small stone, then that's fine. But for the like 1 carat price, like 1 carat point, it's there's options.
Well, I still found I made one recently around the 1 carat range, and it was still I don't remember what I did. I think it was around like the 8,000.
There's
you know,
other options.
Yeah,
there's options in other stones like that. That's it. Emeralds 1 carat, they're super expensive if you want a nice quality. But yeah, you have other options all the time, and spinel's a great option.
Yes. All right, let's check out these purples.
Okay. So purples here, well, we have the lavender colors that are very trendy and popular right now. This one's the sapphire, and this one's the spinel, and this one is $1,400 and $600. So half the price again. There's even in sapphires, if you watch the videos we made, talked about the paparacha sapphires. And spinel has also a similar color, has paparacha.
Yeah.
Carat weight, they're both around 1.5 carat. This one's 1,000, this one's 10,000.
Yeah, so it's a big price difference.
So
and they look very, very similar, you guys.
Yeah, they're very...
I came in asking her if it was
paparacha. And this one's also a sapphire, so you have the spinel in the middle, and you can...
You can't tell.
You can tell. It's the same color. It's not the same value, but if that's the color you want, in sapphires, you're looking at $10,000 and more for a 1 carat stone. So it's a great option.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love it.
And so purples. There's purple blue. This is the spinel. This is the sapphire. Spinel is going to be $600. The sapphire is going to be $2,500. They're 1.24 and 1.27 carats, so very close weights. But yeah, you're looking at least half the price of sapphires.
Yeah, and in terms of like the pink ones as well, very similar in color. Yeah, same thing, fraction of the price.
Yeah, this one, the sapphire, 1.43 carat and 1.3 carat, and the sapphire is the double of the price, so 2,200 and 1,300.
Yeah.
And I think also that Spinels is kind of like secret that because we recently made a post on Instagram with new Spinels, and jewelers are like, we love it, but we also don't want people to know about it.
Oh,
because they're so nice, and if people know about it, the price are gonna go up. But this is our secret for the people in the industry. Spinels, like, I don't know. I know a lot of people who just wear Spinels, and because when you know about gemstones, you just learn that Spinels are great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Spinels are great, and they have a little bit of a wider range than like other stones versus like tourmalines. I feel it's like sapphires, Spinels, tourmalines, and they all have their own color palette, so it's very nice.
Yeah.
It is funny though how the demand will drive the market price. It's like
sure. Well, the gray Spinels, I mean, they use not even to cut them. When I was in Bangkok in 2017, I was learning how to cut gemstones, and I went to have lunch with a supplier, and I was telling him that I was on my way to buy synthetic stones to like practice how to cut, and he's like, no, come to my office. And he wanted to give me like reject, like milky garnets or stuff that he wasn't gonna cut, that's just like in a drawer, and he pulls this big bag of gray Spinels, and he's like, oh, well, actually that sells now. But usually it would go in like
the discard pile,
and then it became super trendy, and they cut them, and now they're similar price. Like for gray stones, they're never that most expensive, but they're similar to some sapphires, and because it just became really popular.
Yeah, very cool.
So yeah, it's all about supply and demand.
All right, now that we touched on colors, let's touch on price points. And we're gonna go over all the different colors, so make sure you stay tuned.
So we're gonna start with the red Spinel. So we're approximately 1 carat range. I'm gonna give you some price in red Spinel and in ruby, so you guys can kind of compare. So the 1 carat red Spinel is gonna be maybe like a really, I'm always talking really high quality, so very like eye clean, good color, good cut. It's gonna be maybe 3,000, 4,000 per carat. If you go for the same in ruby, so heat treated will be around 6,000, and no heat can be around 20K.
Yeah.
You know, your no heat ruby might not look as good as a Spinel.
Yeah.
Because that's how rubies are. They're usually a little darker or more included, not as crispy. So rubies are great. They're a great investment if they're no heat and all. But if that's like the red you like, maybe you won't even fall in love with the ruby. Maybe you'll just want a Spinel.
Yep.
And you can also, you have like, I guess for larger sizes, it has an even bigger impact.
Yep.
Like in the purple, in the grays, in the pink, maybe not as much, but for red, like a ruby, like a pink sapphire, 4 carat, 2 carat, there's a big difference, but not as much as a 2 carat and a 4 carat ruby. So if you're looking at
not even the same ballpark.
Yeah, you know, it's not like so the price per carat becomes exponential, and the weight also adds up. But so if you want bigger stone, I think Spinels will be even more of a difference than for 1 carat.
And I find that when I'm looking at the Spinels, they have almost a slight like orange undertone, a lot of them, which I really don't mind.
This one has some orange also.
It's like a warmer red.
And
I think
rubies, when they have this orange undertone, they lose a lot of value because they kind of tend to look more brownish.
Yeah. If you can smash that like button, subscribe, it means more than the world to us. It helps these small videos perform, so thank you.
But in Spinels, it's just like, yeah.
It
still looks good.
I mean, you can compare to any extent, but like they have just so much more life because they're a little bit brighter than the rubies. The rubies has a little bit more of like a blood color. All right.
And then, so for pink, See, there's all different shades of pink. But for, again, a 1 carat, pink spinel is going to be 2,600 per carat. Pink sapphire is going to be, maybe I would say, approximately similar if it's heat treated in the 1 carat range, not in the 2 carat and more. But for a no heat, it might set you back 4,000, 5,000 a carat. So if we're in light pink, for darker pink, the price for the spinel will go up and the price for the sapphire too. But I think light pink, spinel, sapphire, if the sapphire is heat treated, it's going to be a similar price range. And then, so purple spinel, so this is a big one, but you have, that's a sapphire, but all type of shade. So again, more blue, more purple. So sapphire is going to be around 1,500 a carat, and the sapphire will be at least the double.
No, it's great. The entire ranges that you can have. It's a very feminine stone, all the different shades of pink. Yeah. And in terms of, there's also black. We did touch on black, really.
Yeah. Black, it's the same, I mean, as amethyst citrine. It's very common. It's usually going to be like byproduct of other things they're going to mine.
Like this is like a just over 1 carat, and it's like $28. It's not expensive. People will buy usually black diamond, black spinel, or black sapphire. I personally prefer black spinel with black sapphire.
I prefer black spinel. Black diamonds are like, they have this like gray undertone, or this
like a metallic,
luster. This to me is more black.
This is like jet black.
Yeah, it's like onyx, but it's harder than onyx. It's got more luster. We prefer carrying this. And we didn't talk also about the cobalt blue spinel cobalt blue spinels, because the prices, this is like
a specialty stone,
very intense collectors, and there's like the price are just too crazy, and they're never big, so I couldn't even tell you the price for a 1 carat. They're always going to be 20 pointers, stuff like that. So, but they're very, very expensive. They're the most expensive.
Yeah. Are we talking like Alexandrite prices or more?
More.
Oh yeah. Wow. Okay.
More.
Yeah.
More.
Interesting. I haven't seen one in person, so very cool. Okay, so those are the prices for very nice stones, because Benedict only has nice stones. But obviously, you know, if you're going down in clarity, in like sometimes there's a little bit of milkiness in spinels, obviously the price points are going to go down. So what are the common things that you'll see in lower quality stones?
They're going to be more included, so like more milky, or some more commercial good, maybe little chips on the sides, or not as well cut. Honestly, I think it's a stone that it's already not so expensive, but it's nice. I think it's worth investing in, because I would get like a nice spinel for the price of like a commercial grade sapphire. Yeah, I would get the nice spinel. I wouldn't get the commercial grade spinel, but for sure the prices go down. It's like you see the black spinel, they're basically worth nothing. They're worth the cutting and the manufacturing, but they're not worth the material. Yeah. But other than that, some might be like opalescent, like with the milkiness. That can be fun. And another thing is that the inclusions in natural spinels, they're in the actual shape of how they grow. Yep. So you'll see little octahedron just floating in your stone under the microscope or under the loupe. So even the inclusions are fun. Yeah. And yeah, so sometimes you can have a little cloud, sometimes you can have just like overall milkiness, but I think it's worth investing on a nice spinel.
I mean, always. So nice. I think so. Yeah. For sure. So in terms of the origin, spinels come a little bit from all around the world. Are there some main hubs that have main colors or anything notable?
Yes, there's Burma that has those like really bright, so reds and pink. Tanzania will have some of the grays, the pink, the purple. You'll have them in Sri Lanka. They have spinels. So I said Tanzania, Burma, Vietnam. Yep. There's a lot of producing countries, but I would say Burma is gonna have it's kind of like Colombian emeralds or Burmese ruby. They're gonna be the nicest one, and they tend to produce very, very high quality. But Tanzania, I've seen, I mean, these ones, this is from Tanzania, this is from Burma, so it's very similar material. But I think Burmese kind of come with a premium.
Okay. And are any of them ethically sourced? I think there's some mines in Vietnam.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Awesome. Let's go into the synthetics and imitations, because obviously this is a very beautiful gemstone. There are always going to be imitations on the market, so don't get duped.
I would say, like, on the natural side of stones, there's no imitation, more maybe like confusion, because you're not going to try to imitate a spinel with a ruby, even though but it could be confused with some garnets, some tourmalines can have similar colors. It's not quite the color of amethyst, but are you going to say that, you know, sapphire is an imitation of spinel? To me, it's more like confusion and similar material.
So there are synthetics?
Yeah, there's synthetic spinel. It's been used for quite some time now. They do the very crazy blue. They do a lot of light blue. They'll do a lot of colors that sometimes you think you have a synthetic and it's spinel. They do some doublets with spinel. It's pretty common, but it's very easy to identify.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has a different refractive index. When you put it under the polariscope, you have some like crazy reaction. There's like a lot of things that you can do. It's fairly easy to detect, but there's a lot of color change synthetic spinels. That's very common.
Oh yeah.
You'll see that for like alexandrite imitations.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
I mean, look, anytime you're buying like color change and there's synthetics, I feel like you can tell right away because the colors are just too intense. And they change in like a weird way. Like usually I found that when you have to really be under incandescent versus natural daylight.
Yeah.
The change will change, but in these synthetics, they're always kind of changing, like all the time. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like they're always kind of in between.
Yeah, look there.
So I don't know, but always rely on gemnologists, okay? All right, so we're gonna finish off with some treatments because like a lot of gemstones, there are treatments. There are few for spinel, like a little bit of heating, but there is also...
Sometimes they do fracture filling with the commercial grade. Not so much for durability, but more for the overall look. So they'll oil them or put resin or...
And I'm guessing it's colored to enhance the color?
Mostly the clarity.
Oh, the clarity, yeah.
The clarity. To just fill fractures and make the cracks. Well, there's like a range, but the range is not usually disclosed, so they'll just say like it's filled. But let's say for emeralds you have oil, but you can say it's minor oil, it's moderate, it's heavily oiled. You have different, so rubies, it can be worth nothing, but it can also be like they will usually kind of process everything in some kind of filling. So if there's no cavities, then it doesn't come in, but there's different grade. It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that it's like all of that. It just depends on how much fractures there's in the stone and that reaches the surface, but also fairly easily detectable with the microscope. You'll see bubbles or you'll see the difference in luster on the surface. That's how you see to what extent it was filled.
Okay.
Because sometimes they're just like, even in very expensive ruby, you'll just have like traces. Because if there's a cavity, then it just kind of went there, but it didn't go inside.
All the way in. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, guys. If you guys have any questions or comments, do leave them down below. If ever you guys are looking for a custom engagement ring or to design something with spinel, do send me a DM. My links are down below. And thank you so much for doing this with us. We'll see you next time. Bye.